Thank you for joining me, everyone. I'm Amy, and today we're looking at Veggietales The Toy Who Saved Christmas. Now, this is actually a treat from my childhood. Veggietales first premiered in 1993, having been created by Phil Vischer and Mike Nawrocki. The first feature to be released was Where's God When I'm Scared? In 1996, A Big Idea, the studio behind Veggietales, would release their sixth feature, The Toy That Saved Christmas. And this actually was the very first Veggietales feature that I ever watched. Heck, I still have the VHS. I mean, look, it's back there. I'm actually watching this off a DVD. A fact I wouldn't actually mention, except that the DVD feature, which has it as the Veggietales Christmas Spectacular, which has a whole framing device and everything. The Veggietales Christmas Spectacular would air in 1998 on PAX TV, or what is now Ion. The changes made do not impact the plot of The Toy That Saved Christmas at all. What's added here is a framing device that takes an additional 13 minutes. The original Toy That Saved Christmas was 33 minutes, and making it the right length for an hour TV slot. The plot of the framing device is that the Veggies have made a deal with a network, allowing them to air their Christmas Spectacular. But unfortunately, during the Spectacular, they are unable to find the film reel.
What about the film, Larry?
I can't find it.
And this doesn't exactly let you forget that they're on a network.
The network?
This is network television.
Network?
The network. The network.
The network.
The network!
Okay, you know what? If I were them, I guess I would be pretty happy I was on a network too. It's not that much. While trying to find the film, various crew members try to stall. There's a song from Archibald, there's a song from Junior Asparagus, which, why is there a song from Junior Asparagus? Love These Sheep, though. And this, Under Pressure Bob here, trying to make up something on the spot, I found something very relatable with that Bob.
Christmas is a time for families and people.
All right, enough small talk.
Eventually, however, they decide that it's just taking too long and decide to call it quits. And that's when the Gourd Bros decide to bring out a pizza, but it's actually the film.
Hey, who ordered this pizza anyway? The film.
I kind of have a feeling that these two might be the stoners of the group. Oh, and one of the changes that they actually did make to The Toy That Saved Christmas, I know I said they didn't make changes, but this is a small one. They actually decided to put the silly song with Larry before this feature. Normally this would come up halfway through. And the silly songs with Larry were always the best part of the features. There was a time, I want to say, maybe around Madame Blueberry, that they stopped doing silly songs with Larry for a small period of time. And I remember I was talking to one of the Sunday school teachers at my church when I was a kid. I remember I was, kvetching to him that they discontinued silly songs, and he sarcastically said, "Oh yes, because that's the only reason we watch Veggietales." And I kind of answer, yeah. Like, seriously, the silly songs are the best part. And as this is the first feature that I watched, this is actually the silly song that sold me on the series. In this, Larry is singing about how he's waiting for Santa, and three robbers come up to, well, rob him.
I'm a bank robber, and I've come to rob your bank. Yes, I've come to rob your bank, and I've come to take your dimes and swipe your nickels.
I'm a Viking, and I've come to take your land. Oh yes, I've come to take your land, and I've come to burn your crops and steal your horses.
I'm from the IRS, and I've come to attack your...
Eventually Santa comes, and it turns out that the first two robbers have stolen items from him. And then Santa chases after them. The IRS guy comes back and steals the last cookie. And something that just annoys me about these little wood grain cookies here, like, seriously, there's a grain there, right? But something that bugs me about these is that there are two pink, one green, and the first one that they take is the one green leaving two pinks. It needs to be pink, green, pink. And this framing device is kind of an overused Christmas trope. It's that whole, the crew's putting on a stage show, and that's the background of the plot. I mean, just off the top of my head, let's see. What stories do that? Peanuts, Tiny Toons, Flintstones, Veggietales a few years later, again, Scrooged, Phineas and Ferb, Futurama. Okay, those last two are kind of like variety shows, but since technically it has the whole plot of that they have put on a show, it counts. Once the story actually starts, we have another framing device. This oniony knockoff of the mailman in Santa Claus is Coming to Town here, he's telling his granddaughter a story, he finishes it, and she begs him to tell her a Christmas story. He decides to tell her of the town who didn't get Christmas.
Now, let's see. A Christmas story. Oh, did I ever tell you about the town that didn't get Christmas?
You mean they didn't have Christmas?
No, I mean they didn't get Christmas.
Wally P. Nezzer, the brother of Nebby K. Nezzer in Rack, Shack, and Benny, has invented a new toy, Buzzsaw Louie, with a working buzzsaw in his arm. In fact, we find out, it is an actually working buzzsaw, because at the end of the film, he turns into the local town carpenter, and through marketing has caused the kids to want it, making it the hot toy.
I want a Buzzsaw Louie! I want 10 Buzzsaw Louies! 'Cause that's the true meaning of Christmas!
Oh, and there's this whole thing about the toy says the true meaning of Christmas is getting things. Which, okay, yes, I guess that is good for selling other toys, but that makes that toy only a Christmas thing, so they're gonna only play with it around Christmas, maybe? Wally P. Nezzer here, he didn't think this one through. Okay, so actually, a toy that is strictly for Christmas is a somewhat good business idea, because once January comes, they're gonna need a new toy, thus spending more money. However, the problem I was seeing with it is that you cannot market that toy past Christmas. The kids fall for the sales ploy and, drive their parents crazy. This was before Tickle Me Elmo, if memory serves. Tickle Me Elmo was what, 96? Which, yeah, that would have been about the same time, but this was in production for how long? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I would find that out, but it had to have been more than a few months. One of the toys, however, becomes sentient and doesn't like the words that are coming out of his mouth. He doesn't know why, but he knows that Christmas is not about capitalism. Comrade Louie. He escapes the factory and he runs into Larry, Bob, and Junior Asparagus. And, Bob and Larry, I've always taken them as adults in the show, but here they're kind of portrayed as kids?
Cool! Push his nose! Push his nose!
Okay.
You need more toys. Now that's the true meaning of Christmas.
I don't think it's explicitly stated, but that's the vibe I get from this. The crew becomes ecstatic to see the toy, and when they decide to play with it and press its nose, saying, hey, the true meaning of Christmas is getting stuff, and although he cannot back up his claims, he interjects, hey, that's not true. Bob tells them that he knows some smart guy that they can go ask what the meaning of Christmas is about.
Hey, I know someone who's really, really smart.
Who was it?
Well, it was, me.
You, Grandpa George?
Don't act so surprised.
So George tells them the meaning of Christmas. Special's over, right? Nope. Now that the four know what Christmas is about, they decide that they have to force their beliefs. They decide to inform the town on the true meaning of Christmas.
Actually, Granddad, Christmas is a pagan holiday, and Jesus probably hates you for celebrating it.
They do this by breaking into Mr. Nezzer's toy factory and using the studio that he has there. Mr. Nezzer obviously is not too pleased about this situation and goes to confront the boys, even threatening them on live TV. Mr. Nezzer then tries to kill the four. It's never explicitly stated that he's trying to kill them, but he's sending them to a broken bridge over a deep ravine. He was gonna try to kill them.
Just don't send us to Pugsleyville. The bridge is out.
Pugsleyville!
But before he's able to do so, parents in town come and save the kids, saying, hey, Christmas is about Jesus, and here's your present. Mr. Nezzer's so touched that they gave him a present, and not because he was found just about to murder some people, has a sudden change of heart, but accidentally sends the crew to their deaths. Having changed, though, he risks his own life and the lives of his delivery crew to try to save the boys. And yes, Junior Asparagus is a boy. I always thought he was a girl as a kid, but nope. Girl. Except I meant boy. His risk actually turns out to be pointless, though, as Louie is able to save all of them.
Okay, everybody who's got hands, start tying.
Jimmy.
And he almost falls over the bridge, but his penguins are able to catch him, and they dangle there for a few hours.
Little help?
The special ends with the two integrating into society, Mr. Nezer becoming nicer, and Buzzsaw Louie becoming the town's carpenter. Which, just confirms that Buzzsaw Louie is Jesus. And I don't know how this could happen, as it would imply that network executives don't know what network they're on, but the executives weren't actually watching the Veggietales Christmas Spectacular. They were watching Rankin Bass's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which apparently they never had before.
They say they especially like the part where that funny little elf pulled all the teeth out of the what? The abdominal snowman, so Rudolph and his friends could get back home.
Making the whole spectacular nearly for naught. Okay, so that's the long and the short of the plot, but, how do I feel about it? Well, despite the fact that I am 29 and an atheist, I actually really, really enjoyed this. I mean, of course some of that is from nostalgia, but I feel it would be inaccurate to attribute all of that to nostalgia. Veggietales, at least the older stuff, can't comment on anything past 2002? Yeah, 2002. So it could have gone downhill. In fact, it almost certainly has. I mean, look at these new models. This is some preschool series that they have through DreamWorks, I guess, and yeah, this is their new look. So yeah, I'd say it went downhill. But VeggieTales actually had a very talented crew. I mean, the specials got a little preachy, of course they did. It's VeggieTales. But it was funny. It was well written. It had good music. It had good characters. And Phil Vischer and Mike Naraki are VeggieTales. They are the two creators, but they've written, they've directed, they've produced, they've written songs for, and they actually provide most of the voices on the show. Mike Naraki does do less. He voices Larry the Cucumber, Jerry the Gourd, Jean-Claude P, and, a few others. But Phil Vischer, he voices Bob the Tomato, Archibald the Asparagus, Mr. Nezer, Mr. Lunt, Pa Grape, Jimmy Gourd, and, well, many others. One of the most important factors in having a popular animation is having a very talented voice cast, and they do. Jerry Gourd does sound a bit like Larry, but I don't feel like this is a huge complaint. But these two are not just great actors, they also have a great sense of humor. Like, I'm just gonna intercut a few jokes from this special.
They say we have 5 minutes to start the film, or else. Or else what? They go to Bonanza. They wouldn't!
Jimmy and Jerry say they've got an idea.
Have you checked the projector?
Yeah, the projector. Yes, I checked the projector.
Well, that was our idea.
But most of all, you want a toy with a fully functional buzzsaw built into its right arm.
One of the most surprising things about VeggieTales is that it was obviously inspired by Monty Python.
God told us to do it this way.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Your aunties, you cheesy lot of second-hand electric donkey-bottom biters.
And Monty Python was critical of religion at times.
Always look on the bright side of life.
And Phil Vischer has said that he's a fan of British comedy, including Monty Python. And then there's the music. I mean, I've had people who had never watched the show as a kid come up and say, "Damn, I have the Hairbrush song stuck in my head." What? The Hairbrush song? What do you mean? Oh, where is my hairbrush? Oh, you watched VeggieTales as a kid? No, I just know that song. It's like, oh, okay. So obviously the songs are catchy enough to have traction. Hell, they actually put out a silly song video or two. I want to say two, but maybe just one. They also released VeggieTale albums. I'm not happy with 100% of things, like, why does Junior Asparagus have a solo? When he's part of the larger group, he's fine, whatever. But by himself, well, it's kind of painful. They give him 2 songs in this, but at least we get those sheep. They're not as cute as the Minecraft sheep, but they're still cute. The thing I find most fascinating about VeggieTales, however, is the animation. VeggieTales couldn't go toe-to-toe with Pixar, but it is still surprisingly good. VeggieTales would premiere in 1993, 2 years before Toy Story, Pixar's first, and actually the world's first, CG film. VeggieTales was a Christian cartoon about talking vegetables on a medium that hadn't proven itself yet. Veggietales was risky. Veggietales was a huge risk considering everything against them. They, however, are still around 25 years later. They did quit doing their original productions from Big Idea, but they are still releasing stuff through DreamWorks. There are, of course, animation segments that look a little off, but it is still impressive. The real charm, however, comes in the character design, and I think they may have gone with vegetables because they're a little easier to animate than people, but just the characters. I mean, look at Larry, Bob, Junior Asparagus, Pa Grape. You can tell so much about these characters. Larry looks silly. Bob is more serious looking than him. You know that Archibald is serious. And, this little baby carrot here during this song, it is so adorable the way it moves. I mean, it's definitely going to die of hypothermia, or just, you know, freeze, so that you could cook it later. But, you know, it's really cute. And actually, I never noticed this as a kid, but the adult carrots are just normal carrots. The child carrots are baby carrots. That's clever. And then look at these sheep. Look at these penguins. These penguins are even cooler than the sheep. And I've already stated how much I like the sheep at this point. Especially the security guard penguin. I want a plushie of this thing. Hey, is it just me or does it look like Mr. Nezer is wearing a yarmulke? Ah, crap baskets. Okay, so that wasn't that smooth of a transition, but I kind of got to thinking, hey, could Mr. Nezer be an anti-Semitic stereotype? And I found that he fit a few categories, but while doing research, I found out that, well...
You know Mr. Nezer's black. And I based Mr. Nezer off the Oogie Boogie Man from The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a black stereotype, performed by a black actor. So I was kind of imitating a black stereotype in the styling of a voice. And I don't know if you know this guy, I'm not black.
So Mr. Nezer is actually based off of Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas, voiced by Ken Page, who, talks black? Like, I've heard complaints about Oogie Boogie and racism before. I mean, I personally don't know what the stereotype of Oogie Boogie's voice is, but, I mean, he's jazzy, he likes gambling. I hate that I know this older stereotype, but yeah, there's an older stereotype that African Americans love gambling. I only know that because of Warner Brothers' Band 11. They use that one a few times. And I found a few websites saying that the NAACP actually had a problem with Oogie Boogie having black voice where everyone else has white voice. And I have found sources that, you know, talk about that problem, but I haven't actually found any source that really confirms the NAACP thing. Like, I've found some blogs, stuff like that. And apparently Oogie Boogie is based off of Cab Calloway, and, well, I don't see it in the character design, I don't hear it in the voice. The only thing I really hear is during Oogie Boogie's song, it kind of sounds like this from Cab Calloway.
You got to hold the ho.
You gotta hold the ho.
You got to hide the high.
You gotta hide the high.
You got to heat the heat.
And, I guess just since my mind is there, if Oogie Boogie's racist, does that also make, King Dice racist? I mean, once again, that's a character that's obviously inspired by Cab Calloway. I mean, there's no doubt. In fact, I think that's been confirmed, right? And you got the whole gambling thing. Huh, this has been a rabbit hole. DreamWorks made Veggietales take out Mr. Nezer because he's based off of black stereotypes. I don't know why they were allowed to keep Mr. Lunt, and in fact, Phil Vischer seems pretty confused about that.
And Mr. Lunt was that close. He barely made it in. He barely made it in.
How come? Now, why did he make it in?
I honestly don't know.
But, yeah. they replaced him in the DreamWorks stuff with Ickabeezer. Was that his name? Yeah, I think it was Ickabeezer. And the reason that I decided to bring this up was just for the sake of awareness. I know I lost some conservative snowflakes at that, during that, but whatever, I don't care. If they watched up until that point, I got a relatively decent watch time there. Like, that's not a bad duration. And a downvote and a nasty comment, hey, those are good for the stats too. Sharing it in some hate group, cool. More views. Alright, so I know it got a little heavy there at the end, but, yeah, I enjoyed the Veggietales Christmas special. Veggietales is good. Preachy, but good. I'm definitely going to have to check out some of the newer stuff. I have no intention of watching the DreamWorks stuff. Yeah, no, that character design is terrible. But hey, thanks for joining, everyone. This is obviously a Christmas video, but happy holidays, everyone. If you celebrate Hanukkah Samaic, which I think I'm a little late on that, sorry. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, joyous Kwanzaa. If you celebrate the winter solstice, then blessed solstice. To those that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. To everyone, Happy New Year. Even if I have a video before New Year, I don't actually know if I will. And if I forgot anybody's winter celebration, leave a comment. Let me know what I forgot. I want to learn about your celebrations, because they are valid. You are valid. And to those that celebrate nothing this December, Happy December. But thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Remember that you are valid. Bye-bye.
Ich bin ein Gord.